Okay, we'll look at the graph of a circle with diameter endpoints -1, 2, and 3, -2. Of course, we need to know the center and the radius of the circle first. These are diameter endpoints. So the center is just the midpoint. And so remember the formula for the midpoint formula, x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So -1 plus 3 divided by 2 is 1, and 2 minus 2 divided by 2 is 0. So the point 1, 0 is the center point of the circle. The distance of the circle would be the distance from the diameter endpoint, say -1, 2, to the center 1, 0. Okay, so I need to know that distance. Well, I can use the distance formula. 1 minus -1 squared plus 0 minus 2 squared. The square root of that. That gives me the square root of 4 plus 4, which is the square root of 8, which is 2.83. The radius would be 8, the square root of 8 then. Okay? So the center of the circle is at 1, 0, right here, and the radius is 2.83 units. So if I go 2.83 units to the right of the center, that brings me to 3.83, 0. I can plot that point. 2.83 units to the left of the center brings me to the point -1.83, 0. 2.83 units above the center brings me to the point 2.823, and then 2.83 units below the center brings me to the point 2.83. Okay, and so there's 4 points that I have around my center. And I can also plot these points, -1, 2, and 3, -2. So I've got 6 points here to work with where I can then draw my circle. So I've got the circle drawn. They're not asking for the standard form of the circle, but I can still provide that. X minus 1 squared plus y squared is equal to 8. Would be the standard form of the equation of the circle. Okay? Another example of a circle in the center radius form is to find the center of the radius for the circle x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 10y plus 25 equals 0. Okay, this circle is written in the form of what's called general form. Okay, this form here is called general form. And when the equation is written in this form, the center and the radius can be found by using the technique called completing the square. We're going to talk more about completing the square in a later chapter. This technique is really used in a later time, although it's our only option here at the moment. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the equation that's given here so that the x terms and the y terms are equal to the constant. The x term is x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 10y equals -25. Okay? That is always step 1. Now step 2 is where you want to find the equation of the circle written in center radius form. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to perform 2 complete the squares, one for the x's and one for the y's. For the x's, you're going to want half of the number in front of x squared. So half of -6 is -3. and you want to square negative 3 to get 9. Half of 10 is 5, and 5 squared is 25. So ultimately, I want to add 9 and 25 to both sides of this equation. Now, the reason for doing that is because these two expressions inside the parentheses are going to factor nicely for me, and the factors are always going to be the same. Okay, so x squared minus 6x plus 9 is going to factor as x minus 3 times x minus 3, or x minus 3 squared, plus y squared plus 10y plus 25 factors as y plus 5 times y plus 5, or y plus 5 squared, and that's equal to 9 here on the right. Now, in this form, I can identify the center and the radius. So the center point is located at the point HK. H is 3, and K is negative 5. Okay, so the point 3, negative 5 would be the center of the circle, and the radius is 3. 3 squared is 9. They don't want us to draw the circle, okay, but in this next problem, we're going to graph the circle by doing the same thing. Graph the circle x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 2y plus 13 equals 0. Now we need to get the circle into standard form so that we can know the center in the radius. Okay? Well, I'm going to start by getting my x's and y's together and bring the constant over to the right. Okay, so x squared minus 8x plus y squared plus 2y equals negative 13. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to complete the square twice. And so I want to take half of the number in front of x squared, or half the number in front of y squared. Half of negative 8 is negative 4, and negative 4 squared is 16. Half of 2 is 1, and 1 squared is 1. So ultimately, I need to add 16 and 1 to both sides. Negative 13 plus 17 gives me 4 on the right. Okay, now the reason for doing that, and that's my only option, by the way, is because the left side will always factor and the factors will always be the same. So x squared minus 8x plus 16 factors as x minus 4 times x minus 4, or x minus 4 squared. Y squared plus 2y plus 1 factors as y plus 1 times y plus 1, or y plus 1 squared. Okay, so the center of the circle is located at 4, negative 1, and the radius is 2. 2 squared is 4. So now that I've identified the center of the circle, it's at 4, negative 1, and the radius is 2, I can plot my center point along with 4 points around the center and then draw the circle as best I can. So here's the center point at 4, negative 1, and 1 point to the right of the center brings me to the point 6, negative 1. 1 point to the left of the center brings me to the point 2, negative 1. Point above the center brings me to the point 4, 1, and a point below the center brings me to the point 4, negative 3. So using these 4 points, I can then draw the circle as best I can, and then have my circle drawn. So this circle has a center point of 4, negative 1, and a radius of 2. And here would be the equation of the circle written in standard form. Okay, so the homework is on page 26. Here's the problems that I'd like you to do. Assume that you're only doing the odd-numbered problems. Okay, only do the odd-numbered ones listed here, and that should be enough. Okay.